I'm a big fan of Friday Night SmackDown. It was the show which got me into professional wrestling in the first place, and ever since Triple H took over WWE Creative, it has been the best it has been in a very, very long time. But last night's episode, well, it could have been straight out of a Vince McMahon show in June 2019, couldn't it? Very little of anything happened, and half the stuff which did happen made no sense. Let's get into it. I'm Ben Allison, and I've analysed last night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and here are my 5 key findings. And in at number 5, the Grayson Waller effect with Braun Strowman was one of the worst segments of the Triple H regime so far. First things first, why on earth are Austin Theory and Grayson Waller still together? I mean, they've done absolutely nothing of note together, they're barely on WWE television, and on dark matches, they're just losing to Luke Gallows. The partnership has absolutely killed Austin Theory, and don't get me wrong, he wasn't over before, but he was young with tons of potential and had just beaten John Cena at WrestleMania. How things have gone this wrong for him since, I can't get my head around. Secondly, everything Braun Strowman said in this segment sounded so scripted and fake and just cringe. It sounded like it was from a promo in the 70s. Honestly, it was just like, I'm a big dumb guy, blah blah blah, I'm getting angry. It was just so cringe. And we also know he can cut good promos. We have seen Braun cut good promos. I don't understand why he has to be this big dumb guy. I mean, it's like they've gone back and forth with it his entire time in WWE, and he's just better when he's being more natural. Thirdly, the big finish to this segment was Braun Strowman destroying the new Grayson Waller set. And Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, they were crying about it. They couldn't believe it. Carmelo Hayes was coming out. They were setting up the match afterwards. But I mean, honestly, the 3 guys involved in this segment had about 1 brain cell put together from how it was written. And we know the 3 guys are better than that. It made none of them look good. I mean, basically, Carmelo Hayes just outsmarted Braun in the match after it. I mean, I don't understand the point. Nobody came out of it looking any better. I mean, it was just rubbish. The only good thing was Braun Strowman in the Santa outfit. That is always funny. In at number 4, why did Shinsuke Nakamura attack LA Knight? I understand this event was filmed before Saturday Night's main event, but at the show, Nakamura defeated LA Knight. So why on earth did he then attack him again? I mean, Nakamura is now 2-0 against Knight. I don't understand why this is continuing, and not only that, but why Nakamura is trying to make sure it continues. Maybe there's a bigger plan here. Maybe I just can't see it yet. Maybe I'm missing something. And I really hope I am, right? Maybe there's a reason why Nakamura is keeping his focus on LA Knight and is something in the bigger picture down the line. But if this is just either pointless or it leads to a 3rd rematch where Nakamura wins again, well then I've got nothing good to say about it. In at number 3, Drew McIntyre forgiving Solo Sikoa makes absolutely no sense. And the reason for this is last year, Jey Uso, after he turned on Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre would still not forgive him. He still had a problem with him, right? So why now Drew is considering forgiving Solo Sikoa for doing the same thing, but with Roman Reigns' tactics? I can't get my head around. And considering it was Solo who screwed Drew McIntyre in Wales, which is the big reason McIntyre has issues with Roman Reigns, and that was Solo, not Jey. I mean, again, it doesn't make sense, does it? Of course, now Jey has forgiven Roman, I understand why McIntyre now has issues with Jey, but I'm talking about last year, because last year Jey turned on Roman Reigns, and McIntyre still had the issue with him then. So it's just kind of like they're only focusing on it right now, instead of thinking about this from a long-term perspective, and it's just not working for me. But what I am interested in is why Drew McIntyre is considering working with Solo Sikoa. Is the plan here to do Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble and have McIntyre screw Reigns in Tribal Combat? I mean, I'd be really interested in seeing that feud. After all, last time they feuded, McIntyre was the face, Reigns was the heel. To see the dynamics reverse, that could be super fun. But as for McIntyre forgiving Solo, that ain't it. In at number 2, the Tiffany Strat and cash-in must be happening soon. We are seeing tease after tease after tease, and every week Candice LeRae and Nia Jax are getting meaner towards Tiffany Stratton. So it is becoming clearer and clearer now that Tiffy is going to turn very, very soon. And considering how great of a heel Tiffany Strat is, I kind of have been surprised at the fact they are clearly building her as a babyface, sure. But the fact is, it is working. The crowds are behind her, and it does lead to the bigger question about whether or not they're just behind her because she has the Money in the Bank briefcase, or if they really are behind Tiffany. But I guess we are going to see, because once she cashes in and presumably becomes champion, they're either going to turn on her or stick by her. But the beauty of it is if they do turn on her, you can very easily just turn her heel because we know she can do that well. So it's kind of a win-win in that regard. And I am interested to see when this cash-in happens because I do think it's going to be before WrestleMania. And in at number 1, this was the worst SmackDown of 2024. Literally nothing of note happened on the show. Half of it was Saturday night's main event recaps, and it featured one of the worst segments in recent memory with Braun Strowman on the Grayson Waller effect. Gargano vs. Shelley was fun, and so was Bianca and Naomi against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, but neither of those were must-watch matches. You don't need to go out of your way to watch either of them, and they were the two best parts of the show. And after the episode, I found out this was taped before Saturday night's main event. And now, well, it makes a lot of sense. They didn't want to spoil results, but because of this, nothing of note happened. And I'm a huge fan of wrestlers getting more time off over Christmas. It should definitely happen. But this should have been taped on Tuesday or something like that after Saturday night's main event. Or if you wanted to make sure superstars had that time off, this could have just been a best of show. Because it felt like they put very little time or effort into this show. Nothing really got advanced. Most of the segments either under-delivered or were nothing. And imagine if this was somebody's first experience watching Friday Night SmackDown, right? After all, a lot of people watch TV over Christmas. It could well be. It would be a terrible first impression. But the funny part is, if you put this exact episode in 2019, not only would it fit in with the rest of those shows, but it would probably be one of the better episodes as well. So to be more positive, it does show how much better SmackDown has gotten over the past few years and how we are spoiled a little bit now. But yeah, if you haven't watched SmackDown, don't bother. But that's all my Allison analysis for this week's Friday Night SmackDown. Did you guys enjoy? If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and like and subscribe down below. I will be back on Tuesday to talk to you guys a little bit about Monday Night Raw. Hopefully that's a better show. And it was pre-taped, but it was pre-taped after Saturday night's main event. So at least, hopefully storylines will be advanced. I'll see you guys then. Peace.